From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, House of Reps Senate passed 2023 budget as Senate okays supplementary appropriation. President Buhari urges security agencies to be apolitical during 2023 elections. Work resumes after long Yuletide holiday. And on the foreign scene, at least 16 people die in bus crash in Sudan's Omdurman. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Now the news in detail. The House of Representatives on Wednesday finally passed the 2023 budget of 21.82 trillion naira as against 20.5 trillion naira proposal submitted by President Muhammadu Buhari. The budget was increased by an additional 1.31 trillion naira. The House also extended the implementation of the 2023 capital budget till March 31st, 2023. The report.
President Buhari laid the 2023 budget proposal before a joint session of the National Assembly on October 7th. The House considered approved the report of its Appropriation Committee.
6,557,597,797 naira only is for debt service. 8,321,371,195,637 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure.
The Joint Committee sat and acted on the bill as mandated by the House. The committee observed the following: the effects of the 2022 flood across the country and its attendant consequences on the roads, bridges, farmlands, and water sector necessitated the supplementary appropriation bill. MDS involved in the supplementary appropriation bill's requests are Foreign Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Foreign Minister of Works and Housing, Foreign Minister of Water Resources.
Also at plenary, the House passed the Finance Bill and the 2022 supplementary budget. Passage of the 2023 budget requires concurrence with the Senate before it can be passed into law.
The Senate has passed the 2023 appropriation bill of 21.83 trillion naira with an increase of 1.32 trillion naira from the initial 20.51 trillion naira budget proposal of President Muhammadu Buhari. A breakdown of the budget indicates an allocation of 967.5 billion naira for statutory transfers, 6.6 trillion naira for debt servicing, 8.3 trillion naira for recurrent expenditure, and 5.9 trillion naira for capital expenditure. The Senate noted that an upward review of the 2023 appropriation bill became imperative in order to improve the funding of some critical projects such as INEC, National Population Commission, Nigerian Army, and other security agencies. Meanwhile, the Senate has set up a special committee to engage the central bank to get clearer details of the ambiguous Ways and Means Advances clause which President Muhammadu Buhari is seeking approval.
It is important to state that the committee worked harmoniously with the executive arm of government and its counterpart in the House of Representatives in the processing of this bill, which ensured the collaboration of the National Assembly and the executive arm of government in the discovery and utilization of additional revenue projections to fund or improve the funding of some critical projects such as INEC, National Population Commission, Nigerian Army, and other security agencies.
The special committee to be chaired by the Senate leader, Senator Ibrahim Abdullahi Gobir, has Finance Committee, Appropriations, Debt, Foreign and Local Debt, Banking and Finance, to invite all the necessary, the MDAs, including CBN, to come with all the necessary documents to prove approvals and expenditures done previously.
Meanwhile, the Senate on Wednesday approved 819.5 billion naira as supplementary budget for 2022. The budget, according to the executive, is expected to be financed through new domestic borrowing. The report.
The Senate also amended the 2022 Appropriation Act in order to extend the implementation year from 31st December 2020 to 31st March 2023. Meanwhile, some lawmakers expressed reservations with the proposed supplementary budget from the executive.
If that is the case, assuming we pass it today, we have 120 days to implement. No, 90 in the next year. But we have this, okay, it's 90 days. 90 days, Mr. President, for advertisement, for selection of contractors, and even if it's agreed that some of the projects are ongoing.
There are projects that will last 3 years. And we cannot say because of the 90 days extension of this year's budget, we should jettison this provision which we have provided to take care of an emergency.
Approval of the supplementary budget brings the total deficit in 2022 to 8.17 trillion naira.
2022 budget, I'm sure it's over 20 trillion. And then we are implementing it in how many months? 12 months. They're implementing. This is under 1 trillion. And if the issue is to implement it in 3 months, maybe it may not be enough. But if you travel to Bayelsa and saw the devastation the flood caused, you will only agree with any person, any kind of support that they want to give to the people.
After a mild disagreement, members of the Senate's chamber approved the 819.5 billion naira supplementary budget, while President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, expatiates on how the budget will be allocated.
770 naira. Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, 704 billion, 789 million, 762,043 naira. Federal Capital Treasury Administration, 30 billion naira. Federal Ministry of Water Resources, 15 billion, 500 million naira. Aggregate
is 819 billion 536 million 937,813 naira only.
President Muhammadu Buhari had explained that the country decided to explore a supplementary budget as a result of the impact of the flood and the need to complete major roads, which are at 85% completion.
President Muhammadu Buhari says security agencies will be engaged in the various support services in the 2023 elections, which includes the distribution and monitoring of classified materials and other logistics. Speaking at the commissioning of the Defense Intelligence Agency's new acquired estate in Idu-Karmo, Abuja, the president urged the agencies to be apolitical and maintain a high sense of professionalism in accordance with the standing operation procedures. Kende Amodu reports.
The newly inaugurated staff accommodation for the DIA contains 16 units of 3-bedroom terrace buildings with boys' quarters and 48 units of 3-bedroom flats, all en suite. It underscores the president's belief that befitting accommodation will enhance productivity and coordination of activities of staff of the agency. It is an opportunity for the nation's #1 citizen to acknowledge the efforts of the agency in tackling security challenges plaguing the country. With another challenge looming in form of the 2023 elections, the president is advising that the best approach is to remain apolitical.
Let me reiterate the approach our election in 2023 security agencies will be engaged with various support and assistance in the elections, particularly with distribution and monitoring of classified materials and other logistics. This must be done professionally and in accordance with standard operation procedures.
Acknowledging the President's commendation, Chief of Defense Intelligence, Major General Samuel Adebayo, says much of the progress made is due to President Buhari's approving requests for technical intelligence and advanced technological acquisitions. Most of the newly acquired technical equipment, he says, have been deployed and are helping to address the security challenges across the country.
We have also successfully dominated the threat environment with a combination of special intelligence operations and non-kinetic activities. These operations have recorded huge successes that have continued to deny the enemies of state cohesion and capabilities to withstand our fighting forces.
The investment of the DIA in staff quarters is expected to complement its vision of achieving improved national security by reducing accommodation challenges for its workers in the Federal Capital Territory. From the Federal Capital, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
In politics, a presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, says his government will give priority to education and youth empowerment as a means of rebuilding the country if elected in the 2023 elections. Kwankwaso, who stated this in Gusau on Wednesday, identified vibrant youths with their talents effectively utilized as the part of the critical areas of nation building. He decried the situation which had left Nigeria with more than 20 million out-of-school children, pledging to ensure that the children were given sound education from primary to tertiary level. According to him, the socio-economic and political challenges currently confronting the country are direct consequences of poor education that has resulted in poverty and unemployment among the teeming youth. The former Kano State governor expressed optimism that NNPP would win the 2023 general elections. His campaign motorcade moved to Kauran Namoda, where he told his teaming supporters in the area that propaganda are being carried to underrate NNPP and its popularity across the country, assuring them that the party will surprise many in the forthcoming general elections. Governor of Delta State and PDP vice presidential candidate Ifeanyi Okowa has urged Nigerians to join hands with the party to rebuild the country from what he calls the suffering created by the inept APC-led federal government. Okowa made the call on Wednesday at the party's campaign at Ughelli North and Isoko South local government areas of the state. Okowa said that only the PDP had the right experience to rebuild the nation's economy and stop the pervasive insecurity across the country. He said that the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, had the requisite experience and political will to turn things around for the country, as he did as vice president to President Olusegun Obasanjo when the PDP was first elected in 1999. Okowa, who held the campaign to the local government of the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the state, Senator Ovie Omoagege, said that some members of the opposition in the state were not pleased with the empowerment of youths and women in the state with relevant skills. According to him, the youths and women of Delta are our great strength, and once I see them, I know the matter is finished. Still in politics, the governorship election petition tribunal sitting in Ado, the Ekiti state capital, will on Thursday deliver its judgment on the matter. Parties involved in the suit confirmed that the tribunal communicated the date to them on Wednesday, even as the notice has heightened anxiety in different quarters. The 180 days stipulated in the Electoral Act within which to hear the petition is expected to lapse on January 2nd, 2023. The Social Democratic Party governorship candidate, former Governor Segun Oni, had on July 7 filed a petition at the tribunal challenging the declaration of the All Progressives Congress candidate, Biodun Oyebanji, by the Independent National Electoral Commission as the winner of the election. He is hinging his case on alleged election rigging by voter inducement and bypass of the bimodal voter accreditation system at some polling stations, the authenticity of the YX certificate presented by the deputy governorship candidate of the APC, Monisha Deafuye, among other grounds. The three-man election petitions tribunal, headed by Justice Wilfred Pochi, had on November 23rd adjourned indefinitely for judgment after parties in the petition adopted their final written addresses. A federal high court sitting in Kano has dismissed a case filed by Jafar Sani Bello, who is challenging Muhammad Sani Abacha as a legally recognized member of the People's Democratic Party. In an originating summon, Sani Bello alleged that Abacha did not follow the procedure to register his membership at local government and ward levels. In his judgment delivered virtually on Wednesday, Justice A.M. Lehman held that the national level leadership of the party granted a waiver which the respondent has submitted to the court as exhibits. The presiding judge also said the national leaders of PDP gave a waiver to every candidate intended to register with the party and allowed to contest accordingly. He also said the court agreed with the respondent's submission that he was screened by national leaders of the party. The court accordingly dismissed the case of Jafar Sani Bello and affirmed that Muhammad Sani Abacha is legally a member of the PDP. Moving on, Governor David Umahi has directed the immediate arrest and prosecution of the state's APC chairman, Stanley Emega, and candidates of Afikpo North, Afikpo South Federal Constituency, Eni Uduma Chima, for their roles in the murder of 3 persons in Ekolieda. Governor Umahi gave the directives during an on-the-spot assessment of the level of damages in the area. According to a statement by his special aide, Chuks Oko, the governor also directed the Commissioner of Police to arrest all those connected with the carnage and ensure they face justice. The governor, while announcing the suspension of all social gatherings in Edda until normalcy returns, urged the Commissioner of Police to saturate the area with security presence to forestall further breakdown of law and order. As at the time of filing this report, the whole Ekolieda has been cordoned off by the combined team of the police, army, and Ibubeagu security outfit. Moving on to security, bandits numbering about 10 on Tuesday night stormed Shirgi village of Batsari local government area of Katsina State and abducted 12 people. The bandits, it was learned, arrived the village about 12:30 a.m., shooting sporadically to scare the villagers, and abducted family members of one Shaibu Shirgi. The abductees include women and children, as well as 2 infants. According to reports from the villagers, security operatives are trailing the bandits with a view to rescuing the victims unhurt. Residents of the village and other neighboring communities are living in fear of further attacks from the bandits. The Katsina State Police Command is yet to confirm the incident. Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo says the state is now one of the safest states in Nigeria. He has also vowed to continue to ensure that criminal elements in the state are taken out. Soludo, who stated this while briefing journalists in his country home in Isofia, Agwata local government area, commended the efforts of security operatives in the state, saying their commitment has helped ensure security in the state.
I want to commend all those, these armed forces who sacrifice, who put their lives on the line to have our people sleep with their 2 eyes closed. Some of them have paid dearly. And I want also to remember at this particular occasion, this particular moment, all those who have paid the supreme sacrifice just to keep Anambra safe. Several of them died needlessly, I must say, because these criminals want the security officers out of the road. But fortunately, and we thank God that they have remained resolute. May their souls rest in peace, and we would continue to provide all the support that we can as government and as the people of Anambra in support of all the security forces, what they are doing, the sacrifices that they make, their commitment and professionalism. Those roadblocks, those forward operating bases, we will continue to strengthen them, make them even stronger to keep our people safe and secured. But there's still work to be done. The road ahead still challenging, and all hands must continue to be on deck.
Still on security, Imo State Police Command says it has arrested one of the notorious and vicious IPOB ESN commanders and deserter from the Nigerian Army, Lance Corporal Nwagu Chiwendu, aka Onye Ami. Aged 34, Nwagu Chiwendu, who has been on the command's wanted list, was being trailed for a long time. The suspect, said to be a native of Amohuru Nguru in Abo Mbese local government area of Imo State, was arrested in his hometown during his late father's funeral. Parading the suspect before newsmen in Owerri on Wednesday, the police public relations officer Mike Abatam said the suspect unleashed surprise terror attacks and goes into hiding in neighboring states. According to police, the suspect, on sighting police operatives at the burial, took to his heels but was later arrested after a long chase alongside two of his gang members with bullet injuries while others escaped. The police said investigation is ongoing while operatives are working in synergy with the military and community to arrest the fleeing members of the terrorist group. The House of Representatives on Wednesday condemned the killing of a female lawyer, Rahim Omobolanle, by an assistant superintendent of police, Drambi Vandi, on Christmas Day in the Aja area of Lagos State. The House is also set to investigate the ugly incidents that led to the death of the pregnant mother of twins. Sponsor of the motion, Representative Ibrahim Obanikoro, expressed worry that the deceased is the second person shot this month by officers of the Ajiwe Police Division in Aja, Lagos. He prayed the House to, as a matter of urgency, investigate the matter and recommend that police officers be banned from consuming alcohol as a matter of principle. The Speaker, in his response, described the incident as unfortunate. The House also observed a minute's silence for the deceased.
The House notes that on Sunday, December 25th, 2022, Mrs. Rahim and her family were returning from church when they were pulled over in Aja area by officers of the Nigerian police. Without any altercation, one of the officers, ASP Drambi Vandi, aimed at and pulled his trigger, killing Mrs. Rahim on the spot. Mrs. Rahim was 7 months pregnant with twins. Mr. Speaker, concerned that the same incident happened earlier in the month, 7th of December to be precise, by officers from the same Ajiwe police station, gunned down a young man by the name Gafaru Brahimo, which sparked a bit of civic unrest. Mr. Speaker, worried that this type of occurrence happens often across Nigeria, and that the officers usually get away with shooting and killing same innocent citizens they swore to protect.
Motion, I believe this was your constituency, and the gruesome murder of the young lady has been public front burner in the last couple of days. Indeed, very, very unfortunate. I think straightforward enough. Your prayers are straightforward. We'll just put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. You asked for a minute silence, so we'll do the 1 minute silence. May the soul of late Mrs. Rahim rest in peace.
Governor of Cross River State, Ben Ayade, says the state is taking stricter measures to ensure that the circumstances that led to the accident at the Calabar Carnival does not reoccur. One more person has been confirmed dead, bringing the death toll to 8 following the accident which occurred during the carnival on Tuesday. A car said to have lost control rammed into a crowd, leaving more than 20 persons with injuries. The bikers' activity for Tuesday was thereafter suspended. Speaking on Wednesday when he visited victims of the Navy Hospital in Calabar, Ayade said security for the carnival will be upgraded to include military personnel. Ayade also commended the hospital for attending to the victims promptly.
We had to agree with 2 minutes silence, which is untraditional because of the level of sympathy. It's a national event. The carnival is not gone global. It's the second most popular and most celebrated carnival. We, as management and the Security Council, took a decision whether to stop or to go ahead. But we just realized that it's an international calendar. Things do happen, and with all sympathy, with all sense of grief, with all sense of pain, melancholy, and agony, we submit to the will of God.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Breathtaking cultural heritage of Kaltungo Kingdom. Do stay with us.
The FCT administration strongly joins its voice to condemn in its entirety the nefarious activities of killer code groups existing in our communities and schools, which runs contrary to social norms and values, especially the wanton attacks and most times killings of innocent citizens and destabilizing public peace, as well as destruction of property. This is why the FCT administration is appealing to parents, guardians, community and religious leaders to join the FCT authority to eradicate cultism and bullying out of our communities and schools, especially in the Federal Capital Territory. Anyone caught in this unwholesome, barbaric and uncivilized act will be dealt with in accordance with the law. The FCT administration, under the leadership and watch of the honorable ministers, will not allow cultism and bullying in the territory. To be forewarned is to be forearmed.
Ba a iya sutura da abinci jin daɗin duniyar mai ƙare. Za ka iya more rayuwarka da kayan alfarma na kamfanin Vento Furniture kamar su Ladi Corner Sets, Escape Sofa Sets, Acadia Sofa, Piano Sofa Sets, Sofa Corner Sets, Vento Sofa Sets. Sannan kuma za ku iya saka ƙayatattun gadaje na alfarma a ɗakunan kamar su Gold Cream Bedroom Sets ko kuma ku wadata falonku da kujeru na alfarma irin su Sare Royal Set da Acadia Dining Sets. Ofishoshinku kuwa za ku iya saka manya-manyan kujeru na kece raini domin walwala da jin daɗin ku da abokan hulɗa. Kamfanin Vento Furniture ya tanadar muku gadajen bacci na yara masu inganci, kayan ɗaki irin na angwaye da amare har ma da sarakuna. Muna da shagunan mu a gurare kamar haka: 79 Allen Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos; 7A Azikiwe Road, Port Harcourt; 25 Glover Road, Ikoyi, Lagos; Shop U1 Jabi Lake Mall, Abuja; da kuma 4330 Walker Road, Windsor, Ontario ga mazauna ƙasar Canada. Vento Furniture, mun zagaye ko'ina.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Here's a recap of our top stories. We told you that House of Representatives, Senate passed 2023 budget as Senate okays supplementary appropriation. We also heard that President Buhari urged security agencies to be apolitical during 2023 elections. Moving to more stories, civil servants in the Federal Capital Territory are yet to resume work after the 2-day public holidays declared by the federal government to celebrate Christmas. Checks by Trust TV on the expected resumption day at the Federal Secretariat reveals that less activities are being carried out with few workers seen at the complex. Many attributed this to lack of work ethics, motivation, and an unofficial resolve by some to continue celebrating the Yuletide. The report.
With the Christmas and Boxing Day public holiday over, work is expected to begin in earnest, but there is a low turnout of civil servants at the Federal Secretariat, housing a number of ministries, which usually has an influx of workers on weekdays.
Actually, we came from Kano
And this morning, we entered the building. We asked for protection office. They say it's not around today. It's off because of the Christmas. So we have to go back to Kano now, and we come back.
Holiday is never too okay for us. So if it is for me, I say we resume next week, Monday.
Just few, maybe people that travel far, and maybe probably tomorrow they'll be around.
There is no salary increment. Things in the market are so expensive. You know, when civil servants are not motivated, you cannot see them doing the right thing sometimes. But apart from that, the government should try and take some measures in the salary aspect.
Some of the civil servants blamed the low turnout of workers after the holidays on the fact that some of the workers were on annual or casual leave and had traveled for the Yuletide.
It's the end of the year. A majority of the staff always like taking their leave, the normal leave. Some take, maybe because of meetings and activities, some take casual leave. Majority takes annual leave. So the total turnover is planned out.
We Nigerians, we use opportunity a lot. Once an opportunity is given to us, we want to utilize it above the normal days. The holiday actually was enough for us to celebrate the Yuletide, but people overdo.
Although it is not business as usual, many are optimistic that activities at the Secretariat would pick up in earnest after the New Year celebration. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Katsina State Governor Aminu Masari has charged mechanics in the state to embrace modern skills and technology in addressing automotive issues. The governor gave the charge when he performed the foundation laying ceremony of supporting facilities for the state branch of the National Mechanic Training Institute in Katsina. Jamil Mabay reports.
Katsina State Government, in collaboration with the National Automotive Design and Development Council, NADDC, has established a modern mechanic training center in the state.
So since this edifice is to serve the entire Katsina state.
During the foundation laying ceremony of supporting facilities at the premises of the center, Governor Aminu Masari said it would assist in training mechanics on modern car repairs.
When the idea by Mr. Janani Aliyu came up that is providing centers for training on mechanics in modern technology of addressing automotive issues, he included Katsina as one of the centers.
The governor emphasized that the center would provide the mechanics across the state with modern technology for addressing automotive issues and also transform their lives.
The world is moving and moving very fast. It is no longer a spanner with a hammer. It is now the work of computers and brains to address issues concerning, especially in your area of specialization, that is automobiles. So for you to remain relevant, you have to learn the modern skills. Otherwise, you will be left idle with your spanners, hammers, doing nothing or very little.
The 3 blocks of hostel accommodation will accommodate about 360 people.
I'm here standing at this time on behalf of...
In his remark, commended the government for its commitment towards providing its citizens with skills despite the economic challenges. In his response, The state chairman of the Nigerian Automobile Technician Association, NATA, Abati Muhammad, commended the government's effort, adding that the training institute will enhance their knowledge and improve their work. Jamilu Mabai, Trust Television, Katsina.
Let's move on to crime now. No fewer than 780 suspects were arrested in connection with various crimes by the Kaduna State Police Command in the year 2022. The State Commissioner of Police, Yekini Ayoku, while parading some of the suspects at the command, said 116 suspects were convicted within the period under review. The report.
Parading 30 suspects in Kaduna, the Commissioner of Police, Yekini Ayoku, explained that 206 kidnapped victims were rescued, 49 rifles, 1,359 rounds of ammunition recovered, and 21 bandits neutralized, among others, in the outgoing year.
780 suspects were arrested in connection with various crimes, various forms of crimes. 2. The total number of 116 suspects were convicted. 3. 206 kidnapped victims were rescued. 4. 49 rifles and other assorted guns were recovered. 5. 1,359 rounds of ammunition were equally recovered. 6. 17 bandits operational motorcycles were recovered. 7. 21 armed bandits were neutralized.
The commissioner said, following the commencement of the campaigns, the commander has been closely monitoring political activities to ensure a peaceful and hate-free exercise in the state.
I exploit this opportunity to re-echo my warnings to our politicians to avoid actions and conducts that are contrary to extant laws guiding the electoral process, as nobody will be spared in our determination to enforce the laws. 344 rounds of live ammunition. These people are kidnappers, kidnapped children, collected 4 million ransom, and still killed their victims.
Yekini also acknowledged that the support the command enjoyed from sister security agencies in the state led to the success recorded in the area of tackling insecurity in Kaduna State, and called on them to sustain such relationship. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Suspected phone snatchers stabbed one Usman Ahmed Hassan while he was on an early morning exercise, leading to his death. His death has raised concern over safety of residents taking morning exercise in Abuja, where incidences like Hassan's are common. Noel Sampson speaks to people on whether morning exercise can be restricted to homes or gyms to avoid exposure to such attacks. His report.
Morning exercise is meant to improve health and physical fitness, but the prevailing security situation in Abuja is keeping many at home. Those who can afford to go to the gym for exercise, others use treadmill to exercise at home.
If you can jog, definitely you should be able to do a lot of exercises without going out of your comfort zone, your home. You can do jumping jack, but you have to make sure before you do all this, you have to make sure that your knee is good, your ankle is good, your back is good, your heart rate is very good, or you have a heart rate monitor that you can always check on your heart rate. You can do high knee, you can do squats without using weight, you can do lunges, walking lunges, stationary lunges, Romanian lunges.
However, some Abuja residents say they prefer to do morning exercise, but security challenge remains a call sign.
Because it's cheaper. If you look at the cost of going to gym, you can pay like 10,000 for a section, which you're not even sure you'll be going every time. Because there are other safe places. You can jog in the park where it's open. Maybe you jog in a quiet place or in a private place. You can jog in an open place and nobody will harass you or do you anything.
I prefer jogging because it's quite affordable for a lot of people and it's a complete exercise. And not everybody will want to have muscles or abs and all of that, but it reduces your weight, you have less weight. For me, I do it in my estate and it's quite safe. You can also do it in your room. Get a skipping rope. While you're jumping, it's almost tantamount to you jogging as well. and not necessarily adding abs or some muscles to your certain part of body.
Yes, they usually do that, but if I'm doing my own, it's within the axis that nobody, within my estate, I don't go outside. Yeah, I know that a lot of risk is involved, sure.
It's very unfortunate to hear about this. I can't even begin to think of why somebody will be killed while they are trying to exercise in the morning. Like, it's a ridiculous concept. Personally, I do both, but I prefer going to the gym, because of the solitude that it provides and the equipment that is available. Like, gives you a whole lot of options. And even Nigerian roads, jogging on Nigerian roads, they are not really the smoothest to navigate.
Gymming, because you have more options. Jogging is just jogging. You can do that outside of the gym as well because it's free. You don't have to pay for it. So
research shows that physical activity can also boost self-esteem, mood, sleep quality, and energy, as well as reducing risks of stress, clinical depression, and so on. But the fear of attack keeps many away from morning walk. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The need to ensure that the level of vulnerability to drug abuse among teenagers during festive periods is drastically reduced has been emphasized. In Makurdi, Jimmy Azande, who spoke to some teenagers who are mostly vulnerable to drug abuse and bad behavior, reports that this set of youngsters believe that family needs to do more in the area of proper parenting. The report.
Armed robbery, kidnapping, terrorism, and other crimes are sometimes blamed on drug and substance abuse. That's according to these teenagers whom I engage in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. They decry the level of drug addiction in their neighborhood and feel the family and government are not doing enough to mitigate the menace.
Drug abuse can be defined as the consumption of drugs and any other substances in excess or lesser dosage or without the advice of a medical personnel and cannot alter a person's physiological condition. Now the question here is, why do young people engage in drug abuse and other bad behaviors? Firstly, we have curiosity and anxiety and frustration. When a person is tired of life or is anxious and desperate about what he or she wants but cannot get it, he or she may be tempted to abuse drugs and negative influence. Keeping bad company, e.g. friends and hanging around miscreants and criminals who abuse drugs, will surely lure one to drug abuse.
To some of the teenagers, peer pressure occasioned by poor parenting is a cause. To them, some parents have become too busy to properly raise their kids and worse, who are sooner than later consumed by peer pressure.
Many people engage in drug abuse because they feel it gives them courage, boldness to stand in the public without fear, while some have a rest of mind and make them strong. Moreover, young people nowadays do not only engage in drug abuse, but other bad behaviors like cultism, kidnapping, human trafficking, and so on, which has made young people to lose track of responsibility.
The reasons why people engage in drug abuse and other bad behaviors is mostly out of trivial reasons to a misinformed decision brought about mostly among the youth by peer pressure. The combination of low esteem, peer pressure, inadequate coping skills, and curiosity is also the reason why young people engage in drug abuse. Most people take drugs in order to escape physical and emotional discomfort.
Stakeholders say the rising cases of drug abuse make awareness creation and sensitization for the teenagers an imperative if the country needs to raise youth that will take up leadership positions in the future.
Cultural dancers, artists, and traditional rulers have converged in Gombe State for the 2022 Kaltungo Annual Cultural Festival. The Kaltungo Cultural Festival is an annual event organized by the Kaltungo Chiefdom to preserve the cultural heritage of the people. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
That was the mood at the 2022 Kaltungo Annual Cultural Festival holding in Kaltungo Town, Kaltungo Local Government Area of Gombe State. For years, the Mai Kaltungo Saleh Muhammadu has been championing the promotion of the cultural heritage of the people through the festival.
Give us peace and always my people happy. When people are happy, there's always there's no room for maybe depression or something like that in their mind that will motivate them to do something bad. So keeping them happy is the secret of having peace among our people.
Gombe State Government says the Kaltungo Cultural Festival helps in fostering unity among diverse people across the state, vowing to replicate the same program at the state level.
And this event that we are holding today is helping to provide the bondage, the necessary support that is supposed to guide peace, tranquility, and security in our states. So I urge all to be law-abiding. I urge all to support the efforts and initiatives of people like the Michael Tungo.
At the sideline of the event, artists, through their works, showcase the beauty of artistic materials of Gombe people.
We mobilized the artists from Gombe and we collected the artworks from different artists from Gombe, come and display them here because we discovered that this is a platform that aims at promoting culture and to promote ingenuity from our communities. So that's why we are here to also display what we have.
It is believed that the cultural festival will continue to bring people of diverse backgrounds under a single umbrella to promote peace and strengthen the cultural heritage of the people of Kaltungo Chiefdom. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. More stories after the break.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Or really, if you look at English score, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back. Let's now join Chiamaka Nwafo for business news.
The Association of Licensed Telecommunications Operators of Nigeria, ALTON, says the accumulated debt from the Unstructured Supplementary Service Data, USSD, owed to them by banks rose to 80 billion naira as of November 2022. Chairman of ALTCON, Wenga Adibayo, made this known in a recent interview with Newsmen. He said a time would soon come when telecommunication companies will be forced to withdraw from USSD services as banks refuse to pay, adding that the issue has to be addressed as it cannot be wished away. Deposit money banks, DMO, and telecom operators have been at odds since 2019 over non-remittance of USSD fees. In 2019, Telco said they could no longer provide the services for free and proposed to take a court of 4 Naira 50 kaba for 20 seconds from the charges paid by customers to the banks. However, the banks kicked against it, alleging that it would raise costs by 450%. MTN Nigeria Communications PLC has notified the Nigerian Exchange and the investing public that its shareholders have approved the cancellation of 7.5 billion unissued shares. The shareholders of the telecom giant also approved the cancellation of over 402 million preference shares of $0.005 each. And finally, in stocks, the Nigerian equity market on Wednesday grew further as the all-share index appreciated by 0.46% to settle at 49,934.60 points. Investors gained 124 billion naira as the market capitalization was up by 0.46% to close at 27.198 trillion naira. The market bred close positive as 27 equities appreciated in their share prices against 6 equities that declined in their share prices. An aggregate of 499 million units of shares was traded in 3,989 deals valued at 3.88 billion naira. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
On the foreign scene, at least 16 people died on Tuesday after a passenger bus slammed into a parked truck on a highway in the Sudanese city of Omdurman. According to a police statement, the bus swerved off the road and hit a packed truck. At least 19 people were injured in the accident. The bus was heading to Khartoum from Fasha, the provincial capital of North Darfur province, police said. Ambulances rushed to the scene to transfer the injured to the Omdurman hospital while the dead were taken to the morgue. There was no immediate word as to what caused the bus to swerve. Traffic accidents are common in Sudan, often as the result of badly maintained roads and poor enforcement of traffic laws. Thousands of people are killed every year in road accidents. The monster storm that killed dozens in the United States over the Christmas weekend continued to inflict misery on New York State and air travelers nationwide Tuesday as stories emerged of families trapped for days during the blizzard of the century. The number of deaths attributed to the winter storm rose to more than 50 after officials confirmed 3 more fatalities in western New York's Erie County, the epicenter of the crisis. Mayor of the Lakeside County's biggest city, Buffalo, Brian Brown, tweeted that the police department expects that number to rise as the city has been paralyzed for 5 days by chest-deep snowbanks and power outages. Kathy Hochul, New York State's governor and a Buffalo native, described the storm aftermath as resembling a war zone. As temperatures plummeted, commuters and some residents fleeing their freezing homes became trapped on highways, unable to be rescued. Despite the controversy surrounding whether or not the Nigerian Professional Football League (NPFL) draw will hold, the 2022-2023 league season will kick off on January 8th as the draws have taken place in Abuja. Adeni Ajishafe has the report.
20 clubs will slug it out in the Abridged League from January 8, 2023. 9 teams from the north and 11 teams from the south were drawn in Group A and B to form the Abridged League, which will see each team play 9 home and away matches to make it 18 in all. Prior to the draws, the chairman interim management committee, Gbenga Elegbeleye, listed some of the roles given to the IMC for the NPFL to include conducting draws for the league, putting up legal framework and getting a reputable sponsor for the league, among others.
To ensure compliance, fair and credible officiating, while generally measures for organising must be evaluated to prevent fans and teams from indulging in it. Instead of the usual, like we discussed here, I want to make it open. The usual, hey, you pay 500,000, pay this amount. That's not our interest in IMC. 3-point deduction from the club that indulge in such is our own interest.
The star match of match day 1 will be between Akwa United and Bende Insurance in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State in Group A, as Nasarawa United will welcome Eyimba International at home. Other matches to come in Group A include Plateau United versus Shooting Stars in Jos. Kwara United will be home to Gombe United in Ilorin, as Remo Stars host El Kanemi in Ikene, Ogun State. Group B match day 1 fixtures will see Bayelsa United squaring up against Dakada in a South-South derby in Yenagoa, while Niger Tornadoes will play away to Wiki Tourists of Bauchi. Duma United will be home against Sunshine Stars of Akure, with Lobby Stars traveling to Port Harcourt to play defending champion Rivers United. While Rangers International will be at home in Enugu against Abia Warriors in an Oriental derby. While conducting the draws in Abuja, Chairman, Interim Management Committee Benga Elegbele said referees will be paid before entering the pitch, as the IMC wants to settle officials as at when due to avoid indebtedness as witnessed in previous seasons.
I've made available money for referees emolument for the entire season. Any referee going to officiate will get his money the day of the officiating before going to the field.
Football-loving Nigerians cannot wait to see the MPFL back to life, as it has been months without the top-tier league football in Nigeria. The MPFL is expected to end in time to meet up with teams that represent Nigeria at the CAF Interclub competitions. The last time a Nigerian team won the CAF Champions League was in 2003-2004, when Eyimba International, led by Coach Kadri Kana, won the coveted trophy back-to-back. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.